Hello, good morning. Today we're going to do a tour of the Practical Law AI product from Thomson Reuters. Getting to it is pretty easy, and using it is pretty easy. It has some differences from the Lexis product, and I'm sure it will be different in the near future. However, let's log in. I go in through the law school portal, and I just sign in here. After I'm logged in, you're going to see that there's a choice at the top of the screen here where it says Westlaw Precision Twin Practical Law. I generally use this to jump to where I want to go rather than this section down here, which gets you to a practical area but doesn't quite get you to the products you might want. So here I'm going to use this drop-down menu. I'm going to select Practical Law. Practical Law includes only secondary sources, so this will not include the cases, statutes, and other materials that Lexis includes. We expect West will be coming out with this in the near future for Westlaw Precision. Now, if you go in here, you can use Practical Law as you always have. For example, a practice area of antitrust, you can select that, and then you can drill down into the areas of antitrust. The new feature is going back here to the home. You can always get there from that little breadcrumb, is going over here to Ask Practical Law. So we're going to do that now. And asking practical law is not the end of the legal research process. It is not a magical tool that will solve all your problems. What it is it's a methodology whereby you can search practical law and the generative AI will respond to your issue, your prompt, based on its own large language model and the content in practical law. So it includes some tips for best results. For example, use everyday language and be as specific as possible. We covered this in the Lexis video. You want to make your prompts as specific as possible, and you want to include information even if it might not be relevant in case it is. You want to use specific terms. Pretend you're talking to an associate. So you're not trying to dumb things down too much, but you're also not making assumptions. And finally, you're going to have 7 chances to iterate and ask questions following your initial prompt. So you can follow up and have a real chat. Don't think of this as simple as search. It really is going to be a conversation about your particular legal issue. If you'd like to know how practical law works, you can click on this tab here. We're not going to cover that because we covered generative AI and how it works in other sessions. So now let's go take a look and ask a question. I would like to know about our non-compete agreements enforceable in Washington State. This is pretty vague still, but we're going to just ask it a question. Now you'll note it is not as fast as Google. It is actually doing quite a bit more processing in the background, just like the other products that are using generative AI. So it might feel like it's slow, but really this is, at least for now, surprisingly fast, given that it's going to give us a customized answer to our question. While we're waiting, they are planning on including other countries' content, and they are planning on expanding this. So I would expect you will see new features every month or every other month. So don't assume this is all it does. We just don't know what's coming next. Okay, so we have our response. We have, yes, non-compete agreements can be enforced in Washington State, but there are specific conditions. So there are limitations about earnings, and we have some information about January 1st, 2023, which leads me to wonder, well, did it go up again in 2024? I'm not sure. There's some other issues, and you'll note it has these footnotes here. If you hover over the footnotes, you will get the supporting information, and you can go directly to that supporting information. Although they each have a 1, you're going to note here that they then will take you down below to information about it. So here we have a state Q&A about Washington State. We have some other sections of that. We have a specific healthcare non-compete chart. So if you wanted to look at other states in contrast to Washington, you could do that. And you can additionally follow up and show additional research on this topic. So I'm going to now do that. Apparently there is no further research available on this topic. Now let's ask a follow-up. This is very important. Let's say that wasn't exactly what we wanted. What I'd like to do now is to compare this to Oregon and how it treats non-compete agreements. So I'm giving it a little bit of a zag, and now we're adding some compare and contrast. You'll find in the citations to the practical law articles, you will find citations to primary sources. So it's not as if you can't get from this tool to primary sources. It will just, there will be an intermediate step of using the primary law source material, practical law source materials to get to the primary law. So again, we'll give it a moment. And here we are. In Oregon, non-compete agreements are also generally enforceable. So note the word also. It's already taken into account that I asked about Washington, and now it's saying also generally enforceable, but have specific agreements. So Oregon has additional unique requirements. And so there's some specialized information. While they both have enforced non-compete agreements, specific conditions may vary. So if you're interested in which state should be your choice of law and forum, this might be a very useful tool. And for students, whether they're in experiential education or whether they're learning about a first-year topic, practical law and practical law AI can be quite useful for illuminating areas of interest. So thank you very much, and please let me know if you have any questions at jafrank@uw.edu.